we've been here at the AI Summit for years. Myself, I think every year for the last 4 years, I've talked about AI governance. So AI is not new. AI governance is not new. I think 4 years ago we were talking a lot about machine learning models and bias predictions based off the underlying data. So it's not new, but as you think about over the last couple of years, the excitement and the energy around AI has greatly accelerated. First with large language models, and especially over the last year and change for agents. And so IBM, we work with organizations around the world, and we understand what it takes to really get it right for the enterprise. And so that's part of what inspired us to put out this study, or conduct this study, on the impacts of AI governance. So looking at what organizations, when they're doing it, what are they doing well, and what's the opportunity cost for not, right? So just to give you a couple of ideas of what that looks like. When we survey organizations, over half of them don't identify as having a robust framework for AI governance, despite the fact that they're going to put a major AI initiative into, or they plan to put an AI initiative into production in the next year. So it's clear that there's a little bit of a disconnect here. Conversely, when we talk to organizations that do have a robust AI framework in place, they see major accelerants to their business, right? So just as an example, of the ones we surveyed, they saw that have a robust framework. They saw a 27% increase in efficiency gain from AI use cases, and a 34% increase in operating profit from those use cases. So there's a real case to be made of this helps you really be more efficient. It helps you with your bottom line. It's overall an accelerant to the whole process. Really, it's, again, when we look at those organizations that are doing this, you can actually really get quantifiable numbers as to why they're doing better, right? So some of it's really clear, where they see faster time to value, they see an improvement in the regulatory risk profile, and they see elimination of some of the bottlenecks and late stage problems that plague organizations, and really ultimately pull those use cases and all that work out from production. So one of the things that I love about the study is it outlines a few really practical things that organizations can do, right? So I'll give you a quick recap of a couple of them. So the first one that it starts with is really thinking about the data. So when we survey organizations, 3/4 of them say that data management is a key barrier for them in their AI use cases. So it's, as it has been with a lot of other types of work, whether it be analytical or being more data-driven, organizations really need to think about the data first and foremost. The second thing is to really think about the end-to-end process. So again, organizations get a lot of excitement about AI, but if you were to actually map out on paper from end to end, from the idea to actual execution, who are the people that need to be involved, what are the technologies, what are the handoffs, what are the workflows, and try to identify specific gaps in what you're currently able to do with just one high-risk use case on paper, it's really something that's quite helpful. The third one is to really think about moving from a sort of static AI governance policy where things are hard-coded into systems into something that's very dynamic. So thinking about how do you constantly iterate and improve as the technology changes, as the world changes, and improve what your agents are able to do. And then another one is really thinking about the embedding it into the workflows, right? So not making it just a part of like a quarterly checklist of saying, oh, we did our review checkbox on a quarterly basis, but how are you baking it into all that you do as you go forward? One of the last things I mentioned of moving from static to dynamic. If you think about it, it's kind of in the frame of almost like agile thinking. Really what you want to do is you want to constantly evaluate, how has the use case performed? What have been the issues? How do you constantly iterate and improve? So it's really that. And for us at IBM, we, again, have worked with organizations around the world and see a need for some of the tooling that you have to help do that. So that's really why we've built things like watsonx.governance or watsonx orchestrate to help enable that holistic governance or agent ops approach. The point of some of the products I just mentioned, so we've had in market for a couple years now, something called watsonx.governance. And so that is really kind of a holistic toolkit to enable AI governance, everything from that lifecycle management of thinking about, what is the use case, who approves it, what is that business workflow of moving from idea to production, as well as having a monitoring capability. So you really think about the risk management. and then a regulatory compliance aspect, right? So understanding as there's different regulations around the world, what are the implications of those use cases? The second thing that we've had a lot of investment in this year in particular is watsonx Orchestrate. So that's really IBM's agentic set of capabilities. And for us, a big focus this year has been agent ops. So that's what I was talking about before. It's not necessarily a product, it's more of a concept of thinking about this full lifecycle management, sort of the agent development lifecycle of whatever your use cases are. And for us, a lot of where we've had focus has been enabling organizations to have observability, tracing, optimizations, and really treating this as a virtuous cycle so they can do even better with what they're doing from agents, regardless of what agents they use, right? It doesn't have to all be IBM, it can be any provider and any deployment. IBM in 2020 really refocused its strategy on hybrid cloud and AI. So we look to work with clients around the world solving some of their most difficult challenges, really trying to tap into these two mega trends that we see a major opportunity to be efficient, to help your bottom line, and to really outpace your competition. So I'd say that those are the biggest areas of focus for us. That's where we really see a lot of our clients taking us. But as I think many know, we don't live in a world where anybody is going to have really just one cloud provider, one solution, one SaaS-based application, one on-prem infrastructure. They're going to have a myriad of things, a hybrid cloud estate, and so that's really where we have a lot of focus. And then the other one too is AI, and so that's what we've been talking about today, where certainly there's a lot of excitement about agents. I think if we had this conversation maybe a year and a half ago, we would have talked just about LLMs, but really thinking about what are the enterprise considerations of AI, whether that's cost optimization, those types of governance, transparency, those types of things are things we think to work through with clients. So we just launched what is a new AI governance study, as we've been talking about, on IBM's Institute of Business Value, the IBV, and so you can go in and search for that. But the link, just to make it easy, is ibm.biz/AI governance.